And moving on from there, then you got to do that Lank Stevens thing you do, Dave. And this is Lank Stevens, who is working on a graphic novel. I don't know how far along he is on it now. At the time that he wrote to me, he was getting ready to work on it. And this is going to be a general rule for anybody who's creating comics. If you're creating indie comics, or you're trying to get a job at Marvel or DC, or you're doing, your dream graphic novel or whatever else. And I'll address this part to Lank. Whatever you're doing as the creator initiator, because that's what Lank was on this project. He was going to do it, and he has a very clear picture of what he's going to do on it. From what I recall, the backgrounds, the writing, and the lettering. And he's going to get somebody else to actually draw the characters, which I think would be a really interesting way to do a graphic novel. Just, here's the model sheets for your character. Just leave character shapes open, put the backgrounds in, put the lettering in, and find somebody who just wants to draw characters. Be as productive as you can be, and keep track of how productive you are. And the best way that I found to do that, and again, speaking from experience, is when you start page one of whatever it is, write down on the back of the page or on the front of the page, if it doesn't bother you that it would be out in the margin, when you started it, whatever the day is, day and the hour, if you want to get really, really fine-tuned about it. And then when you finish that page, write the complete day on it. This is the day that I completed it. This is the hour that I completed it. And then over the stretch of, in Lank's case, starting with page one and just bombing ahead and going, here's my story. I'm writing it. I'm lettering it. I'm breaking down all of the pages. I'm putting in the backgrounds. I'm just looking for a character guide. At that point, start checking, okay, how am I doing? It's like, if it took you 2 days to do the first page, and then 9 days to do the second page, and then 4.5 weeks to do the third page, which I got to tell you is not unusual. Okay, well, that tells you you're not going to be doing this for a living, and you should probably reconsider doing it as a 200-page graphic novel. Try and figure out how to distill it down to 20 pages, because at that rate, if you're getting slower and slower as you go along, something's got to give. And to maximize the possibility of getting the thing done, you have to adjust the mental length of what you're doing to what you're demonstrably able to do. And here I'll cite myself as the example. I didn't write down the start day on the first section of Strange Death of Alex Raymond that I've actually drawn when I went, okay, I'm going to give a try at actually drawing these pages, which I started doing with the Many Deaths of Margaret Mitchell section. And so I went, and those pages, the first pages are on the coffee table, and checked the back of the first one. And lo and behold, I started it December 7th, or finished the first page December 7th, 2022. So it's been exactly a year. Who would have guessed that?
You know, I'm becoming a convert to the comic art metaphysics of Dave Sim. Of yeah, it may be close, but you know what? Close in comic art metaphysics is as long as it's close. You know, I'm not going to quibble with a year, exactly a year. That's and I mean, doing the math in my head, 19 10 days shy of 19 years after finishing service.
Right, right. Yeah, I forgot that part. It's definitely a wheels within wheels kinds of thing. It's as I say, describing it as God's clockwork mechanism. But getting back to this as a guideline for other creators, I then checked and went, okay, I finished the first page December 7th, 2022. Where was I 6 months later? Where was I beginning of June? And I checked that, and it took me from December 7th, 2022 to June, I think it was June 5th, to finish 9 pages, which means between June and December 7th, 2023, I got 22 pages done, which is good. That's the thing that I always talk about, saying first you get good, then you get fast, then you get good and fast. But there's also a Harrison Ford, great shooting, kid, don't get cocky thing about it. It's like I could be talking to you December 7th, 2024, and going, well, I don't know what happened in 2024, but I only got 10 pages done all year. Because you don't know. It's, but definitely what you want to do is work as steadily as possible and just count on the fact that for the first 6 months, you're just getting adjusted to how you do this. Like in my case, relearning which of my brushes are favorite brushes. This one works really good. How often you have to change your ink. I don't really keep track of that specifically, but it seems like about every 3 weeks I'm saying to Rolly, pick me up 2 more bottles, little bottles of the India ink, because the fresh bottle goes on really, really smoothly in terms of the pen. In terms of the brush, it's kind of washed out. So that's why I moved the ink over, and it's like what used to be my pen ink that I want sort of very light and going on very smoothly and not clogging up the pen is now moved over into the brush category. And the last time I did that, it's like, okay, these are the 2 new bottles of ink. Take the second new bottle, open it, and pour it into the first bottle so that it's right up to the rim, so that you're not having to go, is the pen actually dipping in the ink? If it's like right up to the rim, then it's definitely doing that. And then putting the bottle of ink down that I just dumped into it and going, okay, put a piece of masking tape on top of that bottle of ink. Because you've got, 16 little bottles of ink sitting on the table next to you at this point. Because I can't throw them away. But it's like, no, you're going to have to do that. But at least mark them as, here's the 2 newest ones. Here's the 2 older ones. This is for the brush. This is for the pen. And that's something that you're spending hours working on when you're just getting back to it. And particularly if it's been a month since you even picked up the page, it's like throw the ink away, start fresh. Everybody who does the same thing goes, I don't know why my brush isn't cooperating. I don't know why they're making lousy brushes these days. I don't know why my pens are getting clogged up. It's because you're using old ink, because you're not spending enough time at the drawing board and you're not doing it regularly. So there's a guideline for you. The best way to keep track of that is by writing down when you started the page, when you finished the page, and don't lie to yourself. Don't say, oh, well, I'll do better now. I went through that. I had the COVID-19 and my wife's sister got sick and we had to go and the kids all were, and they went to school. It's like, no, that's cover stories. Like, don't lie to yourself. You didn't write and draw. You did other stuff. Face who you are. If the best you can ever do is a page every 3 or 4 weeks, then every time you sit down to do a page, you're going to have to buy new ink. You're going to have to clean all of your brushes, and you're going to have to start over again from square one. Not the happiest information in the world, but there you go. I will be elaborating on that, I think, the next time when I address you directly, Mr. LANK Stevens.
I mean, it's not good news, but at the same time, it's the kind of news that's good to get. I'm thinking back to Eddie Campbell's How to Be an Artist, and at the very end, it's Alec as an adult with Alec as a kid, and Alec as a kid going, yeah, I just want to know what kind of brush to use.
Right. And it's like, no, that's just where it starts. It's I'm now at the point where I know all of the materials and what I have to do with them, and what brushes to use and what not to use, when to use the wide flat brush, the medium flat brush, the thin flat brush, and I can really get rocking and rolling on a good part of the page. And that wasn't the case for the first 6 months of getting back to it, which is why I got 9 pages done the first 6 months and 22 pages the second 6 months. The other thing I'm doing now, I'm going to make up a little piece of paper that says, I'm working on A Strange Death of Alex Raymond page. I will get back to you. And I'm going to fax that to people. Anytime they fax me something, unless it's an absolute dire emergency, no interrupting Strange Death of Alex Raymond pages. Other cartooning, yes, I can interrupt those.